All right, guys, we've got our Week 11 NFL recap here. We're going to jump through all the games, take a look at performances, good things, bad things, what we can expect in the future, what I'm hoping to expect in the future, some bets we're looking at and things like that, and going forward from there. So let's just jump into it. We'll start Thursday game, Commanders at Eagles. This one finishes 26-18 Eagles. Interesting game. Pretty defensive early. Eagles defense really came to play overall here. Gave up 10 total, really, outside that garbage time drive right at the end for the Commanders. Excuse me. And the offense kind of just pounded away, and then Saquon kind of got loose toward the end of the game there, and that was the difference in the end. This was sort of like a one of those performances. You got a new upcoming team, and they come up against the team that's kind of been here and done that before, and then they kind of just run into a brick wall, and it's like, you're not quite this level yet, despite, holes the Eagles may have or whatever it may be. So it's one of those performances. It's going to happen. Jaden Daniels is still dealing with that rib thing. You can kind of see it. They had it being taped or, messed around with on the sideline during the game and stuff like that. He was feeling it a bit. He's probably struggling to throw a little bit. But as I said, this was an Eagles defense that's ascending right now. The two rookies are, past their growing pains, and they look really good. DeJean looks good. Quinyon Mitchell looks good. The rest of the defense is starting to look good. They were getting to Jaden Daniels on Thursday. So things to grow with for the Commanders. There are a couple of worrying signs, as we said. This is kind of the time of year where Cliff Kingsbury's offenses drop in efficiency rather quick. If you've ever seen the graph, it's very much up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. First 8 weeks, new team up, and then it's just down, and it's kind of going that way right now. So we'll see with the Commanders going forward. I don't think the division's quite dead yet. Eagles' next 2 games are at the Rams on Monday night, then at Baltimore. Those are losable. And then if the Commanders win their games, which are, it's relatively comfortable. I mean, this is not a great football team, but it's manageable. If Eagles go 0-2 and they go 2-0, all of a sudden they're on top, and they have the second game at home in Washington. So I don't think the division's dead quite yet. That being said, Eagles comfortable right now, and we'll see going forward. Let's move to the NFC North here. Packers at Bears. Packers win this one 20-19. Yeah, blocked field goal right at the end. Nothing is more Bears than that. As someone who has Bears under 7.5 wins, really love that. But Caleb Williams played well. He had a really nice late drive. A little bit more comfortable today. We played his over on Sunday. We played his over pass completions. I thought that number was a little bit low considering what had been going on. And really not in love with this Packers defense. And after this performance, I'm still not in love with this Packers defense. Offense was a bit strange for the Packers. Some drives, explosives, it looked easy for them. And then some drives, they couldn't get out of first gear. So strange performance from their offense. As I said, Bears played pretty well. Defense looked all right. Caleb Williams looked better. Still don't love the coaching here. Don't expect him to sit around long term. But yeah, just another kind of just like heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching loss for the Bears in a season where they've had a couple of them now over the last couple of weeks, and they're all frustrated as it is, and, that's not exactly what you want. Packers, on the other hand, keep up their playoff push. I expect them to make the wild card from here. They got a tough one next week at home to the 49ers, which should be a good game, and a game they could have won last year, but didn't. So interesting game next week. Bears, on the other hand, as we said, their schedule does not get easier as they go forward. Our under 7.5, I feel rather comfortable with right now. Don't expect them to get to 8 from here, but as I said, encouraging from Caleb Williams and the offense, and hopefully they can kind of just go forward and build on that, but we shall see. Jaguars at Lions. Lions win this 56-2. Not much to say here. Jaguars look awful on offense right now. Defense is wasn't very good to begin with, and it's kind of coming apart a little bit. Doug Peterson's a dead man walking. Why he's still there is beyond me. Lions, on the other hand, 600 yards of offense. Very comfortable. I like how the Lions don't just let up. They kind of really go for the kill. They try out some fun stuff. They're going for it on fourth. They don't change anything. Doesn't matter what the score is. and what time of the game it is. They don't change their style. They don't change anything, and I really like that. But as I said, not much to talk about here. Dominant start to back, and yeah, spread was 13.5. It was always going to be difficult for the Jags to even contend here, and the Lions made sure they didn't. Very good performance there. Now, Vikings at Titans, 23-13. The Vikings come away with this one. Weird game, this. Vikings did enough on offense. They weren't particularly great on offense. Right around 300 yards. Only 2.5 yards a carry. They weren't running the ball particularly well. Passing game was okay, but nothing great. But as I said, 23 points did enough. The defense played well here. Titans had that one drive for a field goal after the early Vikings turnover, and then the rest of the first half was 3 and outs. 99-yarder, which was funny for the Titans. That kind of kept them in this game, but not really. And, as I said, on the road, AFC team, decent performance here from the Vikings. Did enough to win and kind of get up and get out. So not much to discern here. Vikings going forward, as we said, the schedule's kind of light, and I expect kind of a lot of games like this. I still think there are a couple cracks here and there. Levis threw for 300, but the defense, you hold the Titans to 1.5, 1.4 yards a carry. And as I said, if you're not an elite quarterback, you're going to have trouble with this Vikings defensive system. It's the elite quarterbacks I worry about when we play the Vikings, because the elite ones have shown to put up points here against this system, but the bad ones just are befuddled by it. And there's another one here, Levis, who continues to be the starter here. I'm not sure. Titans are going to draft a quarterback. If they keep losing, they'll get their pick of the litter at the top end. But as I said, Vikings, you're going to have a lot of these games. They're probably wrapped in the wild card. They're probably getting that 5 spot. And you're probably going to end up going to Atlanta, which would be favorable, in my opinion. Raiders at Dolphins, interesting one here. Dolphins win this one 34-19. Both offenses were very good. I mean, the first half was just long drive after long drive. There were 5 total drives in the first half, and the 5th one was just end of half stuff. So 4 really long drives in the first half. Dolphins, outside of that end of half drive where they went 4 plays, 25 yards at the end of the half, scored on every single possession. So the offense was cruising along. Defense still has issues. I still think it has issues, and the Raiders moved the ball relatively well today. Ended up with 19. You can turn a couple of those field goals into touchdowns. It's a different game, but they just couldn't do enough to keep up with the Dolphins. They're another team who's probably just going to continue to lose hope for a quarterback later on. Not in love with the coaching. If I were controlling the Raiders, I'd be removing the coach. I'd be removing the quarterbacks. There are a couple good pieces here. I mean, Bowers is the best tight end in football. Best top tight end. Can line him up everywhere. They're giving him carries, lining him up wide in the slot at tight end. So that is obviously great. There are a couple of other players here that, are solid, and there are pieces to build on here, but the main pieces, in my opinion, need to go. As we said with the Dolphins, offense looked good again, and they're kind of just getting into their groove right now. Schedule's a little bit difficult for me to pencil them in for a playoff push. They're 3-1 right now to kind of get to the playoffs. Don't love that number, but they're kind of starting to peak a little bit on offense as everyone gets back into the groove too. It gets back into it. So offense is dangerous. Defense, to me, is still an issue. Rams at Patriots. Rams win this one 28-22. Both teams moved the ball pretty well. Patriots started out well also. Went 7-0 up. But then Rams kind of turned it on. They go 28-13 up. Even missed a field goal or two. I know they missed a chip shot right before half. And then the game was not over. May was pretty decent. He moved the ball, and the Patriots had the ball with a chance to win the football game. They were driving or trying to drive, and then the interception happened at the end there. So I wasn't too inspired with the Rams defensively, and it's been that way for a little bit. I'm not sure how good it is going forward. We'll see. Offense, as I said, clicked today. Stafford threw 4 TDs. They're running the ball pretty well, throwing the ball pretty well. And as I said, the offense played well after kind of a dud against the Dolphins the other night on Monday. But, the defense still has a couple issues here. They're in the mix in a really wide open division. So we'll see going forward. But yeah, interesting game. Really tough spot for the Rams to play that game on Monday, then cross country to play away from home in New England and come out with the cover. So decent performance there. Browns at Saints, 35-14 Saints. I don't even know what to make of this football game. Even watching it, I don't know what to make of the football game. 900 yards of offense. Winston threw for 400. Taysom Hill had 2 turnovers, a fumble and a pick, and 3 rush touchdowns. It was a very strange game. Browns also missed 3 field goals, I think it was, when the game was tight too. So, yeah, I'm not sure what to make of this football team. Browns defense seems all over the place right now. The offense, it comes and goes. There are times where they're moving the ball really, really well. We've been talking about this since Winston got named the starter. They're going to move the ball well, and he's going to move the ball well, but can they do the little things to put it in the end zone? Not quite right now. As we said, missed 3 field goals, but that's the opportunities. When you're giving up 35, you got to get into the end zone. They're not getting into the end zone, and then you miss a kick, and it's like, falling apart a little bit there. So, interesting set of teams. I think the Saints, I'm not so sure it's like a head coaching bump, more of a getting healthy on the offense kind of bump. We'll see going forward. I'm still not a believer in any of these 2 football teams right now. And as I said, going forward, we'll have to see, but not in love with any of them going in that direction. I kind of just think these guys just kind of play semi-competitive games and then, lose a couple tight ones down the stretch here. Browns host the Steelers, which should be kind of interesting. It's going to be weird weather there, 15, 16 mile an hour winds, definite rain. So that should be interesting. That's one of those muck 'em up games. And if Jameis Winston cannot turn the ball over, it'll be kind of tight in that one. So we'll see. Colts at Jets. Colts win this one 28-27. Another interesting game here. Colts get out to an early lead, 10-0. Then the Jets kind of wake up defensively, go up 13-10-ish. And then they were kind of just pushing ahead, the Jets, most of the way. And then the Colts stopped running directly into 9-man boxes on first down and then scored 2 late touchdown drives to win the football game. It was very strange. The Colts offense, I don't want to say overused, but you give Jonathan Taylor 21 carries in the first half, and they're just running them first and second down into walls. They were even running out the half there. They were just running out the half, and he's getting carries on 20 carries, which is weird. Super inefficient second half. But the second they stopped, running into walls on first down, and they were throwing the ball on first down, the offense opened up, and the offense kind of went up and down the field late in this football game to go ahead and grab those last 2 touchdown drives. Is very interesting, but a Colts win. Anthony Richardson back. He played pretty well. Jets, on the other hand, as I said, the offense looked decent at times. Defense looked good at times when the Colts were predictable. But when the Colts started throwing on first down and not being super predictable, it kind of fell apart. And it's been that way all year. Jets, when you can throw early and you can't stack the box, they can't really stop the run. And then when it's open, they can't really stop the pass. Sauce has taken a step back, I guess. He's just not playing as well. The linebackers aren't fantastic either right now. And, defense is a mess. Jets season is done. They're firing everybody, just fired the GM. The owner's not super fantastically bright with some of the reports coming out. Salah out. So this is about to be a full rebuild, I think. And we'll see as it's going to be a very interesting year or so for the Jets. A very interesting offseason. Ravens at Steelers. Steelers win this one 18-16. This is a very much Ravens-Steelers game with Lamar. Ravens move the ball easy. They own the box score, 6.1 yards per play to 4.1. Move the ball comfortably, as we said. But the Steelers don't score any touchdowns, 6 field goals. But, 2 missed kicks from Baltimore. You get a couple weird things here and there. Fumbles. Derrick Henry's first fumble in 600 carries or something. That's the kind of stuff that happens at Steelers games, and they take advantage and win the football game. Steelers are really good at doing this with Lamar, and I think this game here is a really good reflection of why Lamar struggles in the playoffs, and a really good reflection of why I think the Steelers will struggle in the playoffs this year as well. Steelers offense, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but if you can stop the run here and force force Russell Wilson to throw the football more than he needs to and out of structure, and you're not getting success early down, it's a struggle for them to do much of anything. It's a struggle for them in the red zone. And if you're the Ravens, this is why Lamar struggles come playoff time. Everyone just copies this Steelers stuff. Turns you into a thrower, keep you in the pocket type stuff. And I'm not saying Lamar is a bad thrower or anything, but when you take away the use of his legs and you, prevent that scramble that's so deadly all the time, you end up, holding them down when you need to hold them down. So I didn't love this look for the Ravens in terms of playoff stuff. They're going to have a hard time winning the division, though I don't think that division's dead either. Steelers still have difficult games. They got 2 against Cincinnati, got to go to Baltimore, got to play Philly and Kansas City, one of those on the road, Browns twice starting on the road in primetime this week. And the Ravens go to the Chargers, and then after that, they should be favorites really the rest of the way. They'll be comfortable favorites in the rematch. They play the Giants, should be comfortable favorites there. Play the Eagles at home, which is winnable, so it'll be tough for them to win the division from here. Obviously, the Steelers have 2 games, but if you win the other one, then you get the split, and it's difficult from there, or it's different from there, but I wasn't too excited in terms of playoff aspirations for either of these teams coming out of this particular football game. So we'll see going forward. We'll see how the rematch happens and stuff like that. Falcons at Broncos. Broncos win this one 38-6. The Broncos are the exact football team the Falcons do not want to see. Sean Payton's going to scheme open guys for Bo Nix. Falcons can't get pressure. It's just going to be open season all day, just throwing easy completions pretty much the entire game. He's also got legs. He can move it. Falcons can't stop the run. Falcons can't do much of anything defensively right now. And then on offense, you find somebody that can stop the Falcons offense just a little bit, and they can't keep up. And this was a really horrible spot, traveling to altitude from where the Falcons have been the last couple of weeks. Just a really awful spot, and everything just came together, and it was just a perfect storm for them as the Broncos come away huge, huge winners. I didn't quite lay it. I made this Broncos 1.5, and it was 2.5 and almost 3, and I didn't quite lay it, but it was a really good spot for the Broncos. We'll see going forward. I'm still not a huge believer against good defenses against this Broncos team. Bo Nix is certainly getting better. Down to down, he's getting better, getting a little bit more accurate. His footwork seems to be a little bit better, and he's not throwing these off-platform throws to open dudes and missing, which is obviously a huge positive. They can get the running game continuing to go. That is obviously a huge positive, and the defense is good. The defense is top 7, 8, 9. So the defense is good. Just got to go ahead and see if the offense can continue to evolve going forward. We'll see. I still have trouble believing that this team can score on good defense come playoff time. They're going to be fighting for that last playoff spot most likely, but they have a decent game next, so they have to go on the road to Oakland or Las Vegas, I suppose. Falcons, on the other hand, have a decent lead in their division. Schedule's pretty decent, but I wouldn't necessarily count out Tampa Bay yet. Falcons got to keep winning football games, and it's difficult with the defense they have. But they do have the tiebreaker over Tampa, and they're kind of just trying to hold off that division going forward, and they may have just kind of punted this game away after it got out of hand relatively early. Seahawks at 49ers is probably the surprising result of the week, I suppose. Seahawks win this one 20-17. this is the same story. It's been all year with San Francisco. They cannot hold leads late. This is the third game in which their win probability was over 90% in the fourth quarter, and they lost the football game. That continues to happen all 3 times in division, 1 to each of them, Rams, Cardinals, Seahawks now. It continues to happen. They were a little bit injured. They continue to be injured. They've been injured for 3-4 years in a row, it seems like. No Kittle today. The offense looked decent moving the ball, but just couldn't quite get over the hump in a variety of different spots. Seahawks out of the bye, though, looked a little bit better defensively, and sometimes you just need that stoppage, new coach, new system and stuff like that. So you get a week to kind of just work through it, unencumbered by a game plan and stuff like that. So that may have helped the Seahawks here, who kept everybody in the division pretty much. So this division, as we said, is really, really tight right now. As for the Seahawks, a nice win. You got a lot of Geno here. Geno is an interesting football player. He had probably the worst pick of the week, where you're like, what on earth are you doing? But he was also really good down the stretch. Used his legs. He's used his legs quite a bit late in games. Scrambling and stuff like that. He did a ton of it here. I believe he scored the touchdown too that won them the football game. And yeah, so, he continues to do enough some games, and then some games he continues to be the problem. So it's interesting. But as I said, this division's up for grabs. It can be anybody's. We'll see if I'm a believer in the defense. They've got a game coming this week. I like them in. They're home to Arizona. I think they can win that game, or I think they will win that game. Niners go to Green Bay. So Seahawks can put themselves right back in the division race here going forward. Chiefs at Bills, probably the game of probably not the game of the Monday night, the Sunday night game was probably the best game, but Chiefs at Bills win this one 30-21. Very good game. These games are always very good. 2 really good football teams. Really like the plan offensively here from the Bills. They ran the ball well. They seem to keep the defense, or the Chiefs defense, on their toes most of the game. This was a really, really tight football game. And that 4th and 2 where Josh Allen just does Josh Allen things and scores that touchdown is solely the difference. I mean, they don't get that, or, Sean McDermott kicks the field goal, which he's been liable to do. It's not the right decision there, but he's been liable to do it. Kicks the field goal there, and they probably lose the football game altogether. But Josh Allen magic and Sean McDermott actually showing a little bit of aggressiveness there wins them the football game. I think these two meet again come playoff time. If they do, it'll be very tight, but not necessarily much to gain from this game other than these are 2 good football teams, and it always comes down to one play, and Josh Allen did some Josh Allen MVP type stuff. We'll see if he's going to win MVP going forward. Him, Lamar, Herbert are probably the guys that can win MVP from here, but a really fun game. Nothing crazy. Chiefs started off slow, had that pick early, but they got Worthy a little bit more involved, which they'll need to do down the stretch here. Pacheco's coming back. Hunt's been really inefficient despite volume. And the defense has good days and bad days. I wouldn't say they were bad today, but they're just playing, Josh Allen, and that's kind of just how things go in these spots. But I wouldn't upgrade anybody here, downgrade anybody here. Good football game, even good stuff. Bengals at Chargers. Chargers win this one 34-27. This was a fun one. Chargers get out racing early at halftime. I believe they were up 21-6 or 24-6. And it was 27-6. And then the Bengals clawed their way back all the way to 27-27. McPherson misses 2 field goals. Late Dobbins touchdown. And the Chargers come away with the victory. This is an interesting one. This was kind of a big one for me with the Chargers. Not necessarily offensively, though I thought they impressed a little bit offensively more than I thought they would have in this spot. Defensively, I'm kind of waiting. This is the start of like that span where they play, Falcons offense, Bengals offense. They play 4 games in a row with offenses that are pretty decent, and they haven't played any of them all season really. And I kind of just want to see if the defense is real, because a lot of their metrics is just against really bad offenses and stuff like that. So I kind of wanted to see it. Didn't love it. Early on, they were holding them to field goals instead of touchdowns, which is always nice. But the Bengals were still moving the ball. And then second half, Bengals pretty much got what they wanted. And they may even win the game if McPherson can kick, kind of stuff. But didn't love what I saw from the defense. I think there are holes there. We'll see. As we said, over the next couple of weeks, we'll continue to grab good data there. Bengals, on the other hand, season's done, right? Maybe. They're 4-7. They got to win out and hope other teams really drop off. Zach Taylor is not a guy I would keep here. I would move him on. Jamar Chase, just pay him, because he's just going to continue to be the diva that he is. And every time he has a press conference or something like that, it's like, he does everything he can to make it like ridiculous. So the defense needs a lot of work. I have no idea what happened to Lou Anarumo, man. Last year he was so good. Last year or two he was so good. Halftime adjustments were really good most of the time. And it's just fallen away so much. They were better in the second half, but, Chargers were a little bit more conservative. You're going to get that with a Harbaugh. But when they needed to move the ball on that last drive, they did comfortably. There were open guys a lot. Herbert made some good throws, obviously. But as I said, don't love the defense at all. Don't love the coaching. And that is two pretty important parts of the team. So, yeah, really fun game. Chargers offense bump up a little bit. Chargers defense drop a little bit. Bengals are just going to be this team. It seems like they're going to score a load of points and give up a lot more. And it's going to be as simple as that. Last game of the week, Texans at Cowboys, happened Monday night. Texans win this one 34-10. This game wasn't this wide of a gap for a long time, it felt like. I thought the Cowboys moved the ball pretty well. Texans were up 20-10. They're still kind of struggling second half. They score the late touchdown on offense. And that was their first touchdown on offense in the second half of a football game in a really long time. 23 or 24 drives or something. And then they had the TD on the sack, fumble, picked up by Lyman, fumble, return for a TD. But as I said, Cowboys were down 20-10, and they were not out of the football game, and they were moving it comfortably. Couldn't convert on that fourth down, and then the game got away. After that, I'm still not in love with this Texans offense, and I was a little bit uninspired by the defense. Don't have a ton of tape on rush and stuff like that, but I thought there were gaps. So we'll see going forward. I think the Texans are a team I might just fade week 1 of the postseason. Stroud, I like Stroud, but he's taken a noticeable step back a little bit. The offensive line's not good, but he misses some throws a lot. Some of that stuff's on him. Some of these sacks are on him as well. So as I said, offense, we'll see. Joe Mixon continues to look great. Nico Collins came back and, he played sparingly. He had that first play that went 80 yards, and then it was just a penalty that took it back. It's nice to have him back going forward. But as I said, not in love with the offense, and the defense did not play particularly well here despite holding the Cowboys to 10. So we'll see going forward. Cowboys, on the other hand, are probably dead unless they're playing a really bad team at home like the Giants on Thanksgiving. So we'll see going forward with them. They're going to need a full rebuild, it seems like, as well, and a new coach going forward also, guys. But that is it. That is week 11 for you, and that's it for now.